Okay, so I'm just going to go over some video from that last tournament game we played. First of all, I just wanted to refresh everyone on defensive zone coverage because I'm going to show some examples of that from the game. So this is our defensive zone. The puck's in the corner here with this player here. And this is our defensive zone coverage. So we got the D, one defenseman in front of the net, kind of lined up with the far post, but he's obviously going to be looking for any open players in front of the net here. Left wing, he positions himself high slot here. His job will be to pick up any extra guys loose in the slot here, and also to be protecting the point man out here. Right winger, positioned approximately the top of the circle. His stick should be in this passing lane here out towards the boards, so skates facing the boards, and he would be watching the point man out here. This is the guy in the corner with the puck, so it's first of all it's the defenseman's job to go after this guy here, and this D guy has to maintain defensive side positioning on this player, okay, which means keeping his body between this guy and the net. Okay, you do not want to give up defensive side positioning on this guy, for instance like this or like this. So your primary job is to play the man, so when you go in there after him you want to be watching the guy's jersey, just like you're playing a one-on-one. Don't get caught looking down at the puck. You don't want to get beaten off the wall by this guy. Okay, this player, the centerman, he's got a very important role. Okay, so he is playing support for this defenseman, but playing support does not mean playing down here like this or like this. It means hanging back here in a defensive side position, making sure there's no loose guys in here, and kind of waiting and seeing what happens down here. If the puck happens to get squirted out here, then this centerman can come down and pick it up and take over, and this D would fall back into defensive zone coverage. One important thing is, which happened a lot of times in the video that I'll show you, is we end up with this situation here. 2, sometimes even 3 guys in the corner after one of their guys. Okay, so there's a very important rule here, which is always have even numbers. Okay, get these guys moved around here. So if they have one guy in the corner after the puck, then we have one guy after him. If they happen to bring 2 guys down here after the puck, like this, then we can have 2 guys. Always even numbers. So if they have 1, we have 1. If they have 2, we have 2. But never odd numbers like this. Okay, that's a no-no. So as soon as you do that, that leaves a guy open somewhere. Okay, so I'm going to give you some examples of how our defensive zone coverage broke down, and this is the first shift of the first game or the semifinal game on Sunday, and this is not pointing out any particular players, like just every player on the team was guilty of kind of the same kind of mistakes. So we're just kind of pointing these things out so we can make improvements in the future. So our defenseman is fighting for the puck down here behind our neck. So first of all, just point out our winger here should be up top of the circle. We'll move it forward a little bit further and see how this play progresses. So the puck's coming up along the boards. Okay, so this is kind of what I was talking about before with the too many guys after one player here. So they got their one player here. We got 1, 2, 3 of our guys all fighting for the same puck, which leaves 1, 2, 3 of their guys open. So when you get like this winger here was probably the first guy at the puck, so he should, probably continue to fight for the puck. Our defense needs to drop back into defensive coverage here, okay, and the winger, maybe cover this guy here. All right, it's always 1-on-1 in our own zone. So let's play this forward. So that's kind of how the defensive zone coverage breaks down. They end up getting a scoring chance. Okay, here's just another example of kind of a similar thing. So in this case, this is our centerman going after the offensive player. The puck is down here somewhere. Our D is right here. So which is fine. So if the centerman's the first guy after the puck, he should go after that player, keeping in mind to play the player. Okay, so should be trying to keep his eye on the player, ride the guy out into the boards. As soon as this D recognizes that the centerman's going to take the guy in the corner, he should read that and fall back into defensive zone coverage over here, take the centerman's support position. Okay. So, but this, again, we got 1, 2 guys after one player here. So you got to avoid those uneven numbers in our own end, always 1-on-1. So if the centerman's the first one here, like I said, the D should drop back into support position out here between the goalpost and kind of watching and seeing what happens. If this guy ideally pins this guy, maybe creates a loose puck, then the other guy can swoop in, pick it up. So again, you see that 2-on-1. And then they actually come out with the puck too, which shouldn't happen. Get another good scoring chance. Okay, so this little clip just kind of emphasizes the importance of the wingers playing their position. So we'll just roll this short little clip here. So the puck's down in the corner, and you see our winger was playing way too low. Like ideally should be playing up here. So they were able to get the puck out to the point, which, if the winger's in the correct position, that pass wouldn't have got through. So that winger's doing a pretty good job. Brody getting to his player. But Jacob's got to remember to let his partner do his job and maintain his position over here, watching his winger, because they go D to D back. And then Jacob gets way, way out of position, right? And they got a really good scoring chance. Okay, so this is actually a good read by Dawson here. So we got the centerman going in after the puck, but always try and maintain defensive positioning on this guy. Like, don't just play the puck, make sure you take your man too. And Dawson does maintain his defensive position. You might want to hang back a little further. Jacob should be top of the circle here, stick in this passing lane here to prevent the pass out to the point. That was actually a nice play by that guy. Which I'll just make this point. If you're an offensive player coming up the boards, it's always a good play to cut across the top of the circle like he did here. It's called attacking the seam. So just keep that in mind when you're in their end coming up the boards here. Instead of just maybe firing a low percentage shot from there, attack the seam, which means cut across the top of the circle, because as you'll see in this play, see the open ice he gets there? There's usually that open ice right in front through that seam there. See, once again, winger, top of circle, block that passing lane, okay? Stick out this way. And then the other, and Dawson should be attacking this guy aggressively. And then our centerman should fall into support position there. So a nice pass out to the point, which I'll just put that back slightly. Remember, the weak side winger needs to be high slot, so you can't really draw it here, but a little bit to the left here, high slot, looking for open guys in there, and also watching that second point man, right? So when this pass comes out, if we'd had, like, the winger should be right in here, right? That would be an easy intercept for him. Pick that pass off, and he's gone, right? See, instead, Brody was out of position a little bit. And just remember, D in front of the net. Always got to have your guy tied up down here. So they end up getting a goal on that one. But that's just a good example of how, proper positioning, particularly the wingers on this one, would have probably prevented that goal. So okay, this play here is just kind of another example of, kind of players panicking and not playing their positions. Okay, so we got, I think that's Cole there playing this guy. He's got a pretty good line on him. So Chase was back checking, which is great, and he does the right thing. Once Cole's got the guy, he peels back into his defense, into his position. Okay, so that was perfect. But here's where it kind of goes awry. Okay, so we got our other winger coming in here. All right, this guy needs, Ireland, I believe, needs to play his position. Okay, once again, we only want one guy on one guy, one, and Cole's got pretty good positioning on this guy already. So especially the winger does not want to be dropping down deep like this. Okay, so he should be, if there's a guy open there, yeah, he might have to take him or play his position on the top of the circle. Okay, because look what happens. Okay, because now the puck comes back to the point, and we got 3 guys beaten by 1 pass. Okay, so ideally we should have that winger out here, the defenseman taking that guy down here, and the centerman back in here somewhere for support. So now we got our other winger here, Chase, coming over to do the other winger's job. So again, we got 2 guys on 1 player here, which leaves the other winger wide open. So now we got 1, 2, 3 guys and 2 guys wide open down here. Okay, so you just got to remember, in our own zone, don't panic, play your position. So Chase needs to get back over here. It's the winger's job to attack there, and these D need to fall back, okay, into their defensive zone coverage. So we'll play this forward here. See, this team is really good at that D to D pass. They kind of botched that one, but okay, this little clip just kind of emphasizes the importance for particular defensemen of not looking down at the puck. And I'm not picking on Cole by any means here. Like all the defensemen are guilty of doing this at some point or another. So it's just a good reminder when you're playing a one-on-one on a guy, keep your eye on his chest. Don't look down at the puck, because that's how you end up getting beaten on a play like this. So especially with a talented team like this guy's got a nice little move, and then but if you play the player and forget about the puck, then you could ride that guy out. But like I said, all the defensemen are guilty of doing that. It's just something you gotta keep reminding yourself to do, not look down at the puck when you're playing a one-on-one. Okay, this is just another defensive zone coverage video here. So we got our defenseman chasing the guy here, and our centerman's in support, who was, I believe, Beef, and winger out here. So our centerman actually does a pretty good job here. I'll just play this forward. So our D's got a pretty good angle on the player right here. So the centerman's just kind of hanging out, watching, not committing, right? Because we on a one-on-one rule. So that's good, just hanging back, maintaining that defensive zone position, right? Or D-side positioning between the player and the net. And I think that's Doc, I'm not sure, but he's got a good angle on the player. Like what his objective here would be to get his stick out like this and just angle this guy into the boards would be his objective here. So he's doing a pretty good job. Just remember, always keep your eye on the player, ride him out, okay? And our centerman's got in a fairly good support position here. But this is one little mistake Beefy here is making. Like we already got one-on-one, everything's under control, unless there's a loose puck here, which could be. But at this point, probably shouldn't overcommit to having 2 players down behind the net against their 1.